When you decide to go no contact with a narcissist, you take a powerful step toward reclaiming your peace, your identity, and your future. But do you know what a narcissist hopes for when you make that decision? Let me share with you the 10 things they secretly hope for when you walk away. First, they hope you will chase after them. They've been in control of the narrative for so long, they can't imagine you breaking free. They believe that no matter how much hurt they've caused, you will always come back. The truth is, they've trained you to chase them, to always be there when they want attention, to be the one who works for their love. But let me tell you, true strength is walking away and not looking back. Second, they hope you will question yourself. Narcissists are masters at planting seeds of doubt in your mind. They want you to believe that you're overreacting, that you're too sensitive, or that you're the one who's wrong. They thrive on keeping you confused, but when you choose no contact, you silence their voice. You take control of your thoughts and you stop giving them space to manipulate your mind. Third, they hope you will be afraid. Fear is a tool they use to maintain power. They want you to be scared of the consequences of leaving them behind, whether it's losing social status, family, or connections. They count on your fear of the unknown. But when you decide that your peace is worth more than their chaos, you stand in your power. You face the unknown with faith, knowing that your life will only improve when you leave their toxic grip behind. Fourth, they hope you will feel guilty. Guilt is another weapon narcissists use to control you. They will twist your emotions, making you believe that you're responsible for their happiness or well-being. But the reality is, you are not accountable for their happiness. You must free yourself from the burden of guilt and understand that walking away is an act of self-love. Fifth, they hope you will miss them. Narcissists are not interested in real love or real connections. What they want is admiration, attention, and validation. When you go no contact, they hope you will long for their approval, their praise, their attention. But remember, you are not losing love. You are losing manipulation. You are gaining peace, clarity, and the ability to love yourself fully. Sixth, they hope you will return to the familiar. Narcissists create a toxic cycle of love bombing and devaluation, and they want you to believe that the chaos you've endured is actually love. They hope that the familiarity of their abuse will lure you back in, but you must break free from that cycle. The familiar is not love, it's a prison. And when you break free, you enter into a new chapter of healing, growth, and true freedom. Seventh, they hope you will be distracted. Narcissists don't want you to have the mental space to think clearly, to heal, or to move forward. They hope you will be distracted by new relationships, new projects, or old memories. But when you stop giving them any energy, your mind becomes a sanctuary for growth, and you will find the strength to move forward. Eighth, they hope you will lower your standards. They've conditioned you to accept less than you deserve. They want you to settle for their crumbs, to believe that you're not worthy of anything better. But let me tell you, you are worthy of love, respect, and peace. Going no contact is a declaration that you know your worth, and you will no longer settle for anything less than what God has for you. Ninth, they hope you will be weak. Narcissists prey on your vulnerabilities, and they want to make you feel small, insignificant, and powerless. But when you choose no contact, you show your strength. You show that you have the courage to walk away from what doesn't serve your highest good. You show that you can stand firm and fight for your own mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. 10th, they hope you will forgive them too soon. Narcissists know that if they can get you to forgive them without any real change or accountability, they can continue to manipulate and control you. They want you to forget the harm they've done and return to the cycle of abuse. But real forgiveness comes with boundaries, growth, and accountability. When you go no contact, you make it clear that forgiveness does not mean allowing them back into your life to hurt you again. When you go no contact, understand that it's not just about walking away from a toxic relationship. It's about walking toward a new life, a life where you have the power to heal, to grow, and to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. The narcissist will hope for many things, but you must hold fast to your decision, knowing that the greatest victory comes not in their defeat, but in your healing, your peace, and your growth. The moment you choose yourself, you begin to reclaim everything they tried to steal. When you decide to go no contact with a narcissist, they will inevitably hope that you will chase after them. They are accustomed to being the center of your world, and they believe that no matter what they've done, you will always return. For them, it's about control and validation. They thrive on having someone to manage, someone who is always there, willing to endure their abuse, and ready to make them feel powerful. They know how to pull your emotional strings, how to trigger your need for closure, your desire to be loved, and your hope for change. This is what keeps you tied to them, chasing after something that isn't real, something that only exists in their manipulation. The narcissist relies on this dynamic, knowing that as long as they can keep you in a state of uncertainty, they can maintain their hold on you. They want you to believe that your value is tied to their attention, that you can't live without their approval. So when you walk away, when you make the choice to go no contact, it shakes them to their core. They never expected that you would choose your own peace over their chaos. They never imagined you would be strong enough to stop chasing them, to stop begging for the affection they never truly gave you. But here's the truth. The moment you stop chasing, you stop giving them the power to control you. The moment you stop looking back, you free yourself from their grip. Narcissists cannot handle the loss of their control over others. They want to be desired, wanted, needed. But when you walk away, you show them that you can live without them. You don't need their validation, their approval, or their attention. You stand firm in your own worth, knowing that you deserve so much more than the empty promises and false love they offered. In walking away, you realize that chasing after them only keeps you in a cycle of disappointment, pain, and confusion. You begin to see that your happiness does not depend on them or anyone else. It depends on your ability to love yourself, to honor your needs, and to set boundaries that protect your emotional and mental well-being. This is the moment when you step into your own power. The narcissist may hope that you will chase them, but you know now that the most empowering thing you can do is to stop running after someone who will never value you as you deserve. When you choose to go no contact with a narcissist, they will also hope that you begin to question yourself. Narcissists are incredibly skilled at making you doubt your own reality, your perceptions, and your emotions. From the very beginning, they engage in gaslighting, distorting the truth, and manipulating your sense of what is real. They want you to believe that you're the one who is too sensitive, that you're overreacting, that everything they do is justified. They will twist situations, rewrite history, and convince you that you're the problem. Their goal is simple: to make you second guess everything, so you begin to question your sanity and your self-worth. In the depths of their manipulation, they create an illusion where you are the one who is always wrong. They will make you feel like you are constantly on the defensive, always needing to apologize or explain your actions. But here's the truth: when you finally go no contact, you begin to see through the smoke and mirrors. The moment you choose to cut off communication, you free yourself from the toxic narrative they've written for you. You stop internalizing their lies and you start reclaiming the truth about who you are and what you've endured. This is why the narcissist hopes that you will second guess yourself. They know that as long as you remain confused, as long as you allow their words to dictate your sense of self, they can continue to control you. But by stepping away, by removing yourself from their influence, you create the space needed to heal and to reconnect with your inner voice. The truth becomes clearer, and you begin to trust your feelings again. You recognize the emotional abuse for what it is: manipulation and deception, and you no longer allow them to make you feel crazy for setting boundaries or standing up for yourself. The narcissist will always hope that you'll come back to them, questioning whether you made the right choice, whether you're being too harsh, or whether they might have changed. They want you to return to the confusion they once created, where nothing was clear, where you were always uncertain. But when you go no contact, you create clarity. You stop letting their gaslighting control your thoughts and emotions. You start to rebuild your self-confidence, knowing that the choices you are making are for your own healing, your own peace, and your own well-being. Going no contact is the ultimate rejection of their manipulation. It is a declaration that you no longer need their approval or validation. You understand now that your reality is your own, and you don't need their distorted version of it. You are no longer willing to be a pawn in their game of emotional control. You stand firm in your truth. And with every day that passes, you regain the strength and clarity that they tried so hard to steal from you. When you decide to go no contact with a narcissist, they will hope that you will be afraid. Fear is one of their most powerful tools, and they use it to keep you trapped in their world. They thrive on making you feel that your life will be worse without them, that you cannot survive without their validation, and that the consequences of leaving them will be dire. They want you to believe that without them, you will lose your place in the social circle, you will be left without support, or you will be emotionally and mentally incapable of handling the challenges that come your way. They want you to fear the unknown, fear what life might be like without their presence, and most importantly, fear standing up for yourself and walking away from the abuse. This fear that they instill in you is designed to make you feel small, powerless, and dependent. They want you to believe that without them, you are nothing, that you cannot function on your own, that you will struggle to find your way. They want you to feel as though you are incapable of living a fulfilled, peaceful life outside of their influence. This is why when you decide to cut off all contact, they will do everything in their power to make you question your strength, your courage, and your ability to move forward. They want you to be paralyzed by fear, afraid to take the first step toward healing because they have convinced you that it's too risky, too dangerous, or too challenging. But the reality is that fear is the one thing they need to hold on to you. Fear is what keeps you stuck in their web of manipulation and control. Fear is what stops you from realizing that the best part of your life is waiting on the other side of that fear. When you choose to go no contact, you are essentially telling the narcissist that their fear tactics no longer work on you. You are stepping into the unknown, yes, but it's an unknown that is full of potential, full of freedom, and full of opportunities for growth. You are choosing to trust in yourself, in your ability to navigate life without their destructive influence. You are choosing to believe that there is more to your existence than living under the shadow of their control. The narcissist hopes that you will cling to that fear, stay trapped in the comfort of what you know, even though it's toxic and unhealthy, because they know that as long as you're afraid to leave, they can continue to use you. But the truth is, when you face that fear and walk away, you begin to uncover a life that is yours to shape, one that is not controlled by their whims or demands. You discover strength within yourself that you never knew existed, and you realize that the fear they tried to impose on you was nothing more than an illusion. It was never about your ability to survive without them. It was about their need to control you through the illusion of fear. When you go no contact, you step out of that cycle of fear and into a new realm of possibility. You begin to realize that fear was never a reason to stay in their grip. It was the reason to leave. You will find courage even when you feel uncertain. And as time passes, that fear will fade away, replaced by clarity, peace, and an empowering sense of self-sufficiency. The narcissist will hope that you will remain fearful, that you will not have the courage to take that leap. But the greatest victory you can have is in embracing that fear and choosing freedom. Fear is not your enemy. It's the key that unlocks the door to a life beyond their manipulation. When you make the powerful decision to go no contact with a narcissist, they will almost certainly hope that you will feel guilty. Narcissists are masters at emotional manipulation, and one of their most effective tactics is to make you believe that you are responsible for their happiness, their well-being, and their emotional stability. They want you to feel like it's your duty to fix them, to take care of them, and to put their needs above your own. They will use guilt as a weapon, planting seeds of doubt in your mind about whether you've done the right thing. They want you to question whether you've been too harsh, too cold, or too unforgiving, making you feel as though you're the one at fault for setting boundaries or walking away. This guilt is rooted in their need to maintain control. They want to make you feel obligated to return to them, as if your departure has caused them immense pain, as if you are the one breaking something that could have been good if only you tried harder. They will tell you that they need you, that they can't survive without you, and that they will fall apart without your love and support. The narcissist's hope is that by triggering your sense of guilt, they can manipulate you into returning to them back into the toxic cycle that feeds their ego and reinforces their sense of power over you. They want you to believe that abandoning them will lead to catastrophic consequences for them and that you should feel responsible for whatever happens as a result. But here's the truth. The guilt they try to impose on you is a false narrative. It's not your responsibility to fix them, to save them, or to shoulder the emotional burden that they've placed on you. Their well-being is not your burden to bear. Your responsibility lies in taking care of your own emotional, mental, and physical health. The moment you recognize this, you begin to see how deeply the narcissist has conditioned you to feel like your needs are secondary to theirs. They have manipulated you into believing that their pain is your fault. But the reality is that they created their own dysfunction and they are responsible for their own behavior. No contact is the only way to break free from this manipulation. It is the only way to stop carrying the weight of their emotional needs, to stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself. You are not responsible for their happiness or their ability to function in the world. They are the ones who must face the consequences of their actions, their choices, and their behavior. The guilt they try to impose on you is a tactic to keep you in their grip. But when you stand firm in your decision to go no contact, you make a statement. You refuse to carry their burden anymore. You refuse to take the blame for things that were never your fault. By going no contact, you are setting a boundary that protects your own well-being and sanity. You are acknowledging that your emotions matter just as much as theirs and that you deserve peace, love, and respect. Guilt no longer has a place in your life. You are not abandoning them. You are choosing to stop allowing them to emotionally drain you. Their false guilt is a reflection of their manipulation, and you no longer need to accept it as truth. You are giving yourself permission to heal, to move forward, and to live a life free from the weight of their toxic influence. When you decide to go no contact with a narcissist, they will also hope that you will return because they believe that you are just temporarily angry or upset and that eventually your emotions will settle and you will come back to them. Narcissists live in a world where they are the center of attention and they expect people to orbit around them, always returning, always forgiving, and always willing to put up with their abuse. They have conditioned themselves and others to believe that no matter what they do, no matter how hurtful or damaging the actions may be, the relationship will always be restored because you'll eventually get over your emotions and come back. They don't understand true accountability or the concept of someone walking away for good. In their world, anger and frustration are temporary and they count on your tendency to forgive and move on, especially when it comes to the history you've shared. They might tell you that things will get better, that you're just upset right now, and that in time you'll see that they can change or that you've overreacted. They may even offer you grand promises of change, presenting themselves as the victim of your anger or misunderstanding, hoping you will feel that you've been too harsh and that it's time to move past the pain. They want you to believe that your anger is just a temporary setback and that once you've calmed down, you'll come back and everything will return to the way it was. But the reality is that their promises of change are always empty. The narcissist's hope is not genuine change or growth. It's about regaining control over you. They are skilled at manipulating your emotions, pulling you back in with the promise of a better future that will never come. When you decide to go no contact, you are making the statement that you are no longer willing to be manipulated by their false promises. You are recognizing that this cycle of temporary anger, followed by empty reconciliations, is an unhealthy pattern that will only keep you stuck in their world of manipulation. The narcissist does not understand that you are not just angry or temporarily upset. They cannot grasp that you have reached a point of clarity, that your decision to go no contact is not just a reaction to a momentary frustration, but a conscious choice to reclaim your life and your peace. They do not realize that you are no longer willing to put up with their games, their lies, and their abuse. They are still in the mindset that their presence is essential to your happiness and that you will eventually come to your senses and return to them. When you go no contact, you remove the emotional entanglement they have relied on to keep you in their orbit. You stop feeding into the cycle of emotional highs and lows that they thrive on. You see through their false promises and manipulative behavior. You recognize that staying away is not a result of temporary anger, but an intentional decision to free yourself from a toxic relationship that has caused you far more pain than peace. And as time goes on, you realize that your ability to stay away is not a sign of weakness or fleeting emotion, but a demonstration of your strength, growth, and commitment to your own well-being. The narcissist might hope for your return, but the reality is your journey forward is one where you no longer entertain the idea of going back. You have chosen freedom, and that choice is stronger than any hope they have for your return. When you go no contact with a narcissist, one of the things they will hope for is that you will become emotionally weakened, that you will miss them so deeply that you'll break down and eventually come crawling back. Narcissists operate on a deep need for validation, and their self-worth is often built on the emotional responses they elicit from others. They are accustomed to having an emotional hold over those around them, particularly when they've manipulated you into believing that your happiness is tied to their presence, or that their love, or what they claim is love, is something you cannot live without. They want to break your spirit and make you feel so emotionally drained, so lost, and so uncertain that you begin to doubt your own worth and the validity of your decision to leave them behind. They want you to second guess yourself, to convince yourself that you cannot live without their toxic influence and that your life is empty without them. This emotional weakening is a tactic that they rely on because it reestablishes their sense of power. Narcissists know that if they can make you feel as though you cannot function emotionally without them, they can reassert their control. They often believe that at some point the emotional weight of being alone will drive you back into their arms, and they will gladly be there to re-enter your life, picking up where they left off, only to begin the cycle of manipulation again. They will hope that as time passes and the initial pain of the breakup begins to fade, you will be left with a sense of emptiness that can only be filled by their return. They will attempt to trigger memories of the so-called good times, or twist the narrative in such a way that you begin to question whether you made the right choice. The narcissist's goal is for you to feel as if you can't handle your emotions on your own. They want to push you to a place where you believe you are too fragile, too vulnerable, too lost to go through life without their validation. They hope that the void they've left in your life will be enough to make you feel weak, as if your entire emotional existence depended on them. But what they fail to understand is that this emotional depletion is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you are finally letting go of the toxic dependency they created in your mind. You might feel the pain of withdrawal, but it is in those moments that you realize just how much of your emotional energy was being siphoned off by them. The moment you go no contact, you take back your emotional power. Yes, it's natural to grieve the loss, especially when you have invested so much emotionally, but that grief is not a weakness, it's a process of emotional detox. You are removing yourself from a source of toxicity that has drained you, and as painful as it may feel in the short term, it is the beginning of your emotional restoration. You will feel the weight of their manipulation lifting off of you as you reclaim your ability to stand on your own 2 feet. The pain you feel is part of healing. You are learning how to process your emotions without them. You are rediscovering your own worth, your own strength, and your own ability to survive and thrive without their influence. While the narcissist hopes for you to collapse emotionally, to sink into despair and loneliness, you will find that the journey toward emotional independence is not just about surviving without them. It's about rediscovering who you are without their toxicity. You are learning that you are more than the sum of your relationship with them. You are more than the emotional responses they provoke from you. You are reclaiming your emotional energy, your joy, your peace, and your self-worth. The narcissist may hope for your emotional collapse, but what they fail to realize is that this is the very moment you begin to rise. This is the moment you discover the strength you had all along, the strength that was hidden beneath the layers of manipulation they imposed on you. And in time, you will find that the emotional drain they hope to impose on you will only serve to fuel your emotional resurgence. You will look back and realize that the emotional freedom you now have was worth every bit of the struggle. Your journey forward is a powerful testament to your resilience, your ability to heal, and your refusal to allow their emotional manipulation to define you any longer. You are not emotionally weak, you are emotionally strong, and you are walking away from a relationship that tried to take everything from you only to emerge stronger than ever. When you make the decision to go no contact with a narcissist, they will almost certainly hope that you will experience a sense of abandonment so deep that you feel compelled to reach out to them. Narcissists thrive on being the center of attention, and when you remove yourself from their sphere, they lose their primary source of emotional supply. They can no longer feed off your admiration, your attention, or your emotional reactions. And while this might initially seem like a loss to them, they are not without hope. Narcissists are skilled at creating emotional dependency, and they believe that over time, the pain of abandonment will cause you to feel a desperate need to reconnect with them, to fill that void. They want you to feel lost without them, and they hope that your sense of loneliness or isolation will push you to reach out, believing that by doing so, you will be acknowledging that they are the only one who can make you feel whole again. They are counting on your fear of being alone. They are hoping that the absence of their presence in your life will trigger a deep sense of abandonment that will cause you to feel incomplete, as if your life cannot continue without them in it. The narcissist believes that by creating a void, they can manipulate you into filling it by returning to them. In their twisted way, they think that if they leave you alone long enough, you will come crawling back, desperate for their approval, desperate for their attention, desperate for them to make you feel whole again. They rely on your past emotional investment, on the love and attachment you once felt, to reignite those feelings of longing and need. But what the narcissist doesn't understand is that by going no contact, you are taking a step toward reclaiming your own power. Yes, there may be moments of loneliness, but those moments are not a reflection of your inadequacy. They are part of the healing process. You are learning to live without the constant emotional chaos they brought into your life. The void that they hope you will feel is not a void of love or happiness. It is simply the absence of their toxic influence. Their absence is not a reflection of your inability to function, but rather a sign that you are learning how to live your life without the constant emotional manipulation, drama, and pain that they caused. You may feel that sense of emptiness, but it is in that space where your true self begins to emerge, free from the constraints of their control. Narcissists want to maintain that emotional hold to ensure that no matter how much you try to break free, you will always feel compelled to return to them, thinking that they are the only one who can fill your emotional needs. But by going no contact, you are telling yourself that your happiness and your peace do not depend on them. You are realizing that the loneliness they hope you will feel is actually an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. You are learning that your happiness is not tied to their presence, and that the power to fill the void is within you, not in their hands. The more you resist the urge to reach out, the stronger you become in your own sense of self, and the more you realize that the emptiness you feel is not a sign of failure, but of your liberation. The narcissist will hope that you will come back, that you will be desperate enough to forget all the pain they caused, all the manipulation, and all the emotional abuse. They hope that you will ignore the truth and simply want the temporary comfort of their presence. But you are learning that you do not need them to feel complete. You are discovering that you are whole on your own, that your life is better without the constant emotional roller coaster they brought with them. The narcissist might hope for your return, but with each passing day, you begin to see that the true path to fulfillment lies in your ability to stand strong on your own. The loneliness they hope will pull you back is actually the space where your strength and resilience are forged. And as you move forward, you find that the absence of that toxic influence becomes the very thing that allows you to reclaim your peace, your joy, and your true sense of self. When a narcissist realizes that you've gone no contact, one of the things they hope for is that you will begin to question your decision, that you will start doubting whether or not you did the right thing. Narcissists are masters of manipulation, and part of their strategy is to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, making you second guess your actions, your feelings, and the reasons you chose to walk away. They are counting on your vulnerability, your emotional investment, and your history with them to cause you to question your own judgment. They want you to believe that your decision to go no contact was impulsive, that it was driven by anger, or that it was a mistake you will soon regret. They want to make you believe that the problem lies with you, not with them, and they hope that by doing so, they can create enough confusion and uncertainty in your mind to lure you back into their web of control. The narcissist knows that when you walk away, you are essentially removing their power over you, and they fear losing that control. But rather than accepting the reality of the situation, they will try to make you doubt your own perceptions, to make you feel as if your decision was wrong. They will use tactics like gaslighting or playing the victim to turn the situation around, hoping to make you feel guilty or responsible for the breakdown of the relationship. They might even make false promises of change or appeal to your emotions, saying that they miss you or that they're sorry. for what happened, trying to make you believe that the issues between you were somehow just a misunderstanding and that everything could be fixed if you just gave them another chance. At this point, they want you to doubt your self-worth, to question whether you deserve better or whether your need for peace and stability is even justified. They hope you'll start thinking that maybe you overreacted, that perhaps you're being too sensitive, and that the toxic behavior you experienced wasn't as bad as you thought. They may use guilt, manipulation, or even feigned vulnerability to make you feel like they are the victim of your decision, trying to reverse the narrative and make you feel as though you are the one who's causing harm. This is precisely what they want for you to begin to wonder if your judgment was clouded, if you made a mistake in cutting them off, and if they actually are the way they present themselves, as someone who is misunderstood, rather than someone who is toxic and manipulative. But the truth is, their tactics are nothing more than an attempt to regain control and to re-enter your life so they can continue exploiting you. They hope that you will forget the emotional pain they caused, the lies they told, the manipulations, and the gaslighting. They want you to dismiss the reality of their toxicity and focus on the fragments of positivity they sometimes displayed, confusing the good moments with the bad. This is their way of wearing you down emotionally, making you question your judgment, and eventually luring you back into their toxic orbit. However, you must stand firm in the knowledge that your decision to go no contact was a powerful step toward reclaiming your life and your peace of mind. It was a decision made out of necessity, not out of anger or rashness. You removed yourself because you recognized that their behavior was damaging to your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. You understood that no amount of manipulation or guilt could justify staying in a relationship that was built on deceit, control, and emotional abuse. Your judgment was clear. And your decision was based on the strength of your conviction that you deserve better, that you deserve respect, and that your emotional health is worth protecting. The narcissist will hope that you'll doubt your decision and second guess yourself, but the more you remain firm, the more you will come to realize that the doubts they are trying to plant in your mind are not your own. They are a reflection of their desperation to regain control. You must remember that your ability to trust your own judgment, to listen to your inner voice, is what will keep you strong. The doubts they want you to feel are not signs that you made a wrong choice. They are simply tactics to manipulate you back into a situation where you lose yourself once again. Your decision to go no contact is a testament to your wisdom, your self-respect, and your understanding that no one should ever diminish your sense of worth. When the narcissist tries to make you question your decision, let it be a reminder that you've chosen to prioritize your own well-being over their false promises, their manipulations, and their empty words. Stay grounded in the truth that you did not make a mistake. You made a necessary move to protect your emotional and mental health. In time, you will see that the clarity you have now is a direct result of the strength it took to walk away and remain firm in your decision. You did not doubt your worth, and you should never allow anyone to make you question the wisdom behind choosing peace over chaos, self-love over manipulation, and freedom over control. When a narcissist realizes that you have gone no contact, they will often hope that you will feel guilt for leaving them behind, and that this guilt will be enough to bring you back into their lives. Narcissists are extremely skilled at playing the victim, and one of their greatest tactics is making others feel responsible for their emotional state. They are not interested in genuinely acknowledging their own flaws or the harm they've caused. Instead, they want you to believe that their misery, their pain, and their struggles are your fault. They will often try to manipulate your empathy, hoping that the weight of their supposed suffering will trigger a sense of guilt in you, pushing you to reach out to them in an attempt to alleviate their pain. They may say things like, "You left me all alone," or "You don't care about me," trying to make you feel as though you are the one causing them harm, even though the truth is that their behavior has been the root of all the pain in the relationship. The narcissist wants you to feel responsible for their happiness, for their emotional well-being. They do not take accountability for their actions or their toxicity. Instead, they place that burden on you. They hope that you will see their pain and feel a sense of moral obligation to fix what is broken, to heal what is hurting. They may try to make you feel like the bad person for walking away, twisting the situation to make it look like you're abandoning them when, in fact, they were the ones who abandoned your trust, your emotional needs, and your sense of self-worth long before you chose to go no contact. By fostering this sense of guilt, they believe that you will cave under pressure, that you will give in to your emotions and start second guessing your decision. They hope you will feel remorseful for setting boundaries, for choosing yourself over their manipulation. The narcissist wants you to believe that if you don't go back, you're being cruel, heartless, or selfish. They know that guilt is a powerful emotion, and they are banking on you being empathetic enough to feel as though you owe them something, anything to make their suffering stop. They want to reverse the narrative, to paint themselves as the victim and to make you feel like the aggressor for leaving them. But here's the truth: you are not responsible for their happiness, their emotional state, or their well-being. Their pain is self-inflicted, a consequence of their own toxic behaviors. Guilt has no place in a situation where you were simply protecting your peace, your sanity, and your emotional health. When you went no contact, you did not abandon them. You set a necessary boundary to protect yourself from further harm. You were not cruel, you were courageous. You did not owe them anything but respect and honesty, and that's exactly what you gave them by walking away. The narcissist's attempt to make you feel guilty is a manipulation strategy, one designed to make you question the validity of your own feelings and decisions. They want you to believe that their hurt should take precedence over your need for healing. But your feelings are valid, and your need for peace is just as important as their desire to maintain control over you. You are not the cause of their suffering, they are. They created this dynamic through their manipulation, their lack of empathy, and their disregard for your emotional needs. Their attempt to guilt you into returning is nothing more than a last-ditch effort to regain control over your life, to re-enter your world where they can continue to feed off your energy and attention. Do not allow their manipulation to cloud your judgment. You are not responsible for their emotional state, nor should you carry the weight of their unhappiness on your shoulders. You are not obligated to fix them, to heal them, or to sacrifice your well-being for their comfort. Your decision to go no contact was an act of self-preservation, a decision to put your own needs first after years of neglect and emotional turmoil. It was an act of strength, not selfishness. The guilt they hope you will feel is a reflection of their desire to manipulate you, not a reflection of your actual responsibility in the situation. As you continue to stay no contact, understand that guilt is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that the narcissist's manipulation tactics are working if you let them. You must remain steadfast in your decision, knowing that your responsibility lies in healing yourself, not in fixing someone who is incapable of changing. The guilt that they hope you will feel is only a tool to lure you back into their world of emotional chaos. But your life is better without the manipulation, the blame, and the false accusations. You owe them nothing except the recognition that you deserve peace, and that peace will not come by returning to the toxic cycle they created. Do not let their guilt trip pull you back into the storm. Stay strong, because you are the one who is deserving of happiness, and it begins with staying true to your decision to protect yourself. When a narcissist realizes that you have gone no contact, one of their deepest hopes is that you will eventually break down and reach out to them. Narcissists thrive on attention, validation, and control, and they are constantly seeking ways to stay at the center of the lives of those around them. Your decision to go no contact is a powerful statement that you no longer want to be manipulated or controlled by them, and that you have found the strength to cut ties with their toxic behavior. This is a blow to their ego, a disruption to their sense of control, and they will do everything they can to provoke a response from you. They want you to eventually break and reach out, because in their twisted view, it validates their sense of superiority and reinforces their belief that they are the ones who should be in control of your emotions. The narcissist's greatest fear is being forgotten, being dismissed, or being insignificant in someone else's life. When you go no contact, they feel a loss of control over you, and it can be very unsettling for them. Their primary goal is to maintain their place in your life, even if it means through manipulation, guilt, or emotional chaos. They don't care about your well-being, your peace, or your healing. What matters most to them is that you don't forget about them, that you don't move on without them. They want to believe that no matter what they do, no matter how toxic or abusive their behavior was, you will always come back to them. This is why they hope that you will eventually break the silence and reach out. In their mind, this proves that they are still important, that they still have power over you, and that they can always regain control whenever they desire. This hope is a reflection of their fragile self-esteem, their need for external validation, and their inability to cope with rejection. Narcissists are often deeply insecure and rely on external sources of admiration and control to maintain a sense of self-worth. When you go no contact, you effectively remove yourself from the cycle of admiration, manipulation, and validation that they crave. They are not interested in a healthy, mutual relationship. They only seek to reaffirm their own sense of importance by maintaining influence over your emotions and actions. The narcissist hopes that you will eventually give in to the pressure, that you will break the silence and reestablish contact, because it allows them to continue feeding off your attention, your energy, and your emotional investment. They will use various tactics to lure you back into their grasp. Some narcissists may try to make you feel like they miss you, that they are lonely, or that they regret their past actions. These attempts are meant to play on your emotions and stir up feelings of compassion or sympathy. They want you to believe that the relationship can be salvaged, that they can change, and that they are somehow deserving of your forgiveness. But this is all part of their strategy to get you back into their orbit so that they can continue to control, manipulate, and abuse you. At the same time, they may try to create scenarios where you feel like you are missing out on something. They may flaunt their new relationships, new accomplishments, or new social circles, hoping to make you feel left out or insignificant. This is another form of manipulation designed to make you feel that you have lost something valuable by going no contact. The narcissist wants to plant the idea in your mind that if you don't reach out to them, you will be left behind, that you will lose out on something they have to offer, when in reality, the only thing you are losing is the toxic influence they had in your life. They want to make you feel that you are not whole without them, that your life is incomplete without their approval or presence. Moreover, narcissists often believe that they can control or manipulate others into doing what they want. So when you go no contact and do not respond to their attempts to regain your attention, it is a direct challenge to their belief that they can control everything and everyone around them. They hope that over time you will begin to miss them, feel nostalgic for the good times you once shared, and long for their attention. They want you to feel that the void they left in your life can only be filled by them, that you cannot truly be happy or complete without them being part of your world. But the reality is, this hope of theirs is rooted in delusion. Narcissists believe they are entitled to your attention, your forgiveness, and your time, but the truth is that their toxic behavior has already alienated you from them. The longer you stay no contact, the more you will realize that the life you have built outside of their influence is far healthier, happier, and more peaceful. They hope you will break the silence. But what they don't understand is that your decision to go no contact was a step towards reclaiming your peace and your power. Every moment that you remain firm in your boundaries, every day that you continue to resist the urge to break that silence, you are reinforcing the truth that you are no longer dependent on their validation or approval. In the end, what the narcissist truly hopes for is the ability to return to the place where they can control your emotions, manipulate your reactions, and regain the influence they once had. But what they don't realize is that by staying no contact, you are taking away their power, and with each passing day, you are strengthening your ability to move on without them. Their hope that you will reach out is a reflection of their desperate need for control and validation, but your decision to stay firm in your no-contact stance is a reflection of your strength, your growth, and your commitment to a life free from their toxic influence. In conclusion, the narcissist's hopes when you go no contact are rooted in their desperation to regain control, validation, and attention. They believe that you will eventually break down, feel guilty, or reach out so they can continue to manipulate and control your emotions. But the truth is, your decision to go no contact is a powerful act of self-preservation. It's a declaration that you will no longer tolerate their toxic behavior, that your peace and well-being are more important than their attempts at manipulation. You are not responsible for their happiness or their emotional state. You are not obligated to cater to their demands or to feel guilty for choosing your own healing. By staying no contact, you are taking control of your own life, setting boundaries that protect your emotional health, and reclaiming your power. The narcissist's hopes are based on their fragile ego and their need for validation, but your strength lies in your ability to recognize their manipulation and to stand firm in your decision. Never forget that you are worthy of peace, love, and respect, and that the path to your true happiness starts with distancing yourself from those who seek to bring you down. Remain steadfast in your decision, knowing that you are not abandoning anyone. You are simply choosing to reclaim the life and the peace that you deserve. Keep walking forward, knowing that every day without their toxic presence is a step toward your healing and growth. Your future is bright, and it belongs to you, free from the manipulation and control of anyone who tries to take it away. There are times in life when we face situations that seem unfair, unjust, or even downright hurtful. People hurt us, betray us, and act in ways that leave us questioning the meaning of it all. But let me remind you of something profound. Karma is teaching them a lesson. It may not always feel like it in the moment, but everything we do, whether good or bad, has a consequence. Life has a way of balancing the scales. When others have wronged you, when they have taken advantage of your kindness or manipulated your trust, don't be quick to take matters into your own hands. Don't become consumed by the desire for revenge or the need to get even. Know this, the law of karma is in motion. The universe, or as many would say, the hand of divine justice, will see to it that they face the repercussions of their actions. What they sow, they will eventually reap. No one escapes the natural order of this law. You see, the reason karma works so powerfully is because it teaches not just the wrongdoer, but also the one who has been wronged. For those who have experienced pain, betrayal, or mistreatment, you must understand that the act of healing begins within. You are not the judge. You are the recipient of life's lessons. Karma isn't just for the other person. It's shaping you, building your character, strengthening your resolve, and preparing you for greater things. There is a reason why the universe allows us to endure certain things. It is not to punish you, but to perfect you. In your time of trial, remember that what is meant for evil will be turned for good. As the wrongdoer is taught their lesson, you are being taught yours. You are being strengthened in your resilience, refined in your spirit, and prepared for the bigger purpose that lies ahead. So let go of your desire to get even. Release the bitterness and anger. Know that karma is teaching them a lesson. And as it does, it is teaching you as well. Trust in the process and let it unfold. The truth is, we all must face the consequences of our actions, and no one is exempt from the lessons life has to offer. You don't need to see the results immediately, but trust that those who have hurt you, those who have caused harm in your life, will encounter the consequences of their actions. It is the way of the universe. They may not even realize it at first, but as their actions come full circle, they will understand. And the beauty of it is, you don't need to lift a finger to make it happen. The law of karma is far more powerful than any force you can exert. It is the natural principle that always corrects what is out of alignment. Stand firm in your own integrity. Keep your heart pure and your hands clean. Continue to move forward in peace and love, knowing that karma is doing its work. And as it does, you will emerge victorious, stronger than you've ever been. You will find that the pain of the past was the key to unlocking your future, and the lessons you have learned will guide you to places of peace, success, and fulfillment. Remember, your journey is not defined by the wrongs of others. Your path is shaped by how you rise above, how you walk with dignity, and how you trust that the universe has its own way of balancing the scales. So let go, trust in the process, and let karma do what it does best. It is teaching them, yes, but it is also teaching you. There are moments in life that feel unfair. Moments when we find ourselves betrayed, mistreated, or hurt by those we least expect it from. We encounter situations where it feels like the world is against us, where the people we trusted the most fail us, or when our efforts go unnoticed and our good deeds are repaid with disrespect. These are the times when our hearts ache with pain and our minds become clouded with confusion. It's during these times that we may question the very nature of life itself. Why does this happen? Why does it seem like those who do wrong are thriving, while those of us who strive for goodness are left struggling? It can be tempting to lose hope, to believe that life isn't fair, and to fall into bitterness and anger. But it is in these moments of hurt and injustice that we are called to remember something powerful. Every painful experience serves a purpose, and often the lessons are not just for those who wronged us, but for us as well. When life throws these unfair situations our way, it's easy to become consumed with frustration and a desire for justice. Our emotions run high, and we feel the weight of every betrayal, every insult, every wrong done to us. But here's the truth we often overlook. The unfairness of the world isn't the end of the story. It's just a chapter. Yes, the pain is real, and yes, it cuts deep. But it is crucial to understand that this pain is not without reason. Life isn't simply a series of random events. The challenges, the heartaches, the times when we feel overlooked and undervalued, they all serve a greater purpose in shaping who we are becoming. They mold us, refine us, and prepare us for what is ahead. It's during these moments of suffering that we must hold on to the faith that something greater is at work behind the scenes. It's during these moments of suffering that we must hold on to the faith that something greater is at work behind the scenes. While it might seem as though we're being punished or that life is unfairly targeting us, there is a deeper truth at play. The wrongdoers are not immune to the laws of nature, and neither are we. Their actions, however hurtful, will eventually come back to them. It may not happen immediately, and it may not even look like what we expect, but the balance of the universe is at work. When we experience pain, betrayal, or mistreatment, it's not a sign that life has forgotten us or that things will never get better. It's a signal that the seeds of growth are being planted within us. And so, while it is perfectly natural to feel the weight of these unjust moments, we must not allow ourselves to be consumed by them. Pain is a teacher, and it has much to show us. It teaches us about our own strength, our resilience, and the importance of perseverance. It teaches us to lean into our faith, to trust in the process, and to understand that we are never alone, even when we feel the sting of unfairness. Life may feel like it's against us in those moments, but it is in these very challenges that we are prepared for something greater. So rather than becoming bitter or resentful, let us choose to rise above the hurt and walk forward, knowing that these trials are not the end, they are the beginning of something more powerful within us. And as we grow and learn, we will come to see that those who hurt us will eventually face their own consequences. Life balances the scales, and we must trust that the universe, or whatever higher power we believe in, will see to it that justice prevails. When we are wronged, it is natural to feel the need for justice, to want the wrongdoer to face the consequences of their actions. We might think that the scales of justice are tipped, that life is unfair, or that people can get away with doing harm to others without any repercussions. But here's the deeper truth we must understand. Karma is teaching them a lesson. While we may not always see it immediately, the law of karma operates in a way that guarantees that no one escapes the results of their actions. The wrongdoer, in time, will experience the consequences of their choices. They might not face immediate punishment, and they may never show remorse, but the universe has a way of aligning things, of ensuring that everyone must answer for what they've done. We often forget that every action has a ripple effect. The things people do, whether they think they can get away with it or not, create waves that eventually return to them. The energy they put into the world, whether it's energy of kindness or harm, will come back. We don't need to worry about how or when it will happen, because life has a way of dealing with such things. The universe, or the law of karma, is always at work, silently correcting the wrongs, teaching the person who has hurt you the lessons they need to learn. They may not see it right away, but what they have done will eventually catch up to them. Karma doesn't forget. It is like a mirror that reflects the true nature of a person's actions. Sometimes we want to rush the process. We want to step in, take matters into our own hands, and make sure the other person feels the pain they've caused. But let me remind you, you don't have to lift a finger. The greatest power you can give yourself in moments of injustice is to step back and trust that the law of karma is already at work. The consequences will come not because of your interference, but because of the natural law that governs all life. It's not your job to make sure they pay for what they've done. Karma will handle it in its own time, in its own way. While the wrongdoer may not face the same hurt that they caused, the nature of their actions will eventually create circumstances in their own lives that force them to confront the impact of what they've done. In some cases, the lessons may be painful, and in others, they may come in unexpected forms. But one thing is certain: their actions will not go unnoticed by the universe. Whether through experiences of loss, regret, or facing similar situations that cause them to reflect, they will come to understand the gravity of their behavior. As they go through their own lessons, it's important for us to realize that we don't need to see their suffering to know justice is being served. Trust that karma is working quietly in the background, restoring balance. Sometimes the greatest form of justice is the lesson itself, the opportunity for the wrongdoer to reflect on their actions and change. This comes down to the wisdom of the yogi. At the end, and while this might not provide the immediate satisfaction we crave, it's a far more powerful form of correction than anything we could do ourselves. We must remind ourselves that karma isn't about revenge or payback. It's not about the wrongdoer suffering for the sake of suffering. It's about teaching them the consequences of their actions so that they may learn and grow. No one is exempt from this natural law. Even if they don't acknowledge the harm they've caused, life will present them with opportunities to understand. These lessons may come in the form of challenges, struggles, or realizations that force them to look at themselves in a new light. And the beauty of it is that we don't need to see it happen. We just need to trust that it will. The universe has its own way of restoring balance, and karma is the tool it uses to make sure that justice prevails. So when you feel wrong, hurt, or betrayed, remember this: karma is teaching them a lesson, and it's doing so in a way that is beyond your control. You don't need to worry about how or when it will happen, because the law of karma is always at work. Trust in it, let it unfold, and know that the person who wronged you will ultimately face the consequences of their actions. They may not realize it yet, but life will eventually guide them to the lesson they need to learn. reaction in life carries a consequence, whether we see it or not, whether it's immediate or delayed. This is the fundamental principle of karma. Every action, thought, or word we put out into the world creates a ripple that eventually returns to us. We cannot escape the reality that what we give to others will one day find its way back to us. It may not happen in the way we expect, and it may not always seem fair in the moment. But rest assured, the scales of justice are always balanced. Whether we sow seeds of kindness, respect, and honesty, or if we sow seeds of harm, betrayal, or deceit, those seeds will eventually grow and bear fruit. There are no shortcuts around this law. It is a truth that governs the universe, a law as sure as gravity that cannot be ignored. End of poem. When someone wrongs us, it might feel as if they are immune to the consequences of their actions, that they can hurt us without facing any repercussions. We might watch them continue their lives, seemingly unscathed, and wonder why the universe is allowing such injustice to unfold. But what we fail to see is that karma doesn't work on our timeline. Its justice may not arrive when we expect it, but it is always on time. Every decision someone makes, every choice they make, no matter how insignificant it seems at the moment, is recorded in the grand scheme of things. They cannot escape the law of cause and effect. Their actions will eventually come back to them, and the way they treated others will eventually shape their own reality. Sometimes it may seem like someone is getting away with something, but the universe has its way of aligning things. The truth is that no one escapes the consequences of their actions. The law of karma is impartial and cannot be influenced by external forces. It doesn't matter how much wealth or power someone possesses, or how much they try to hide their wrongdoings, it will catch up with them. The energy they send out into the world will eventually return to them. This might happen in the form of difficulties they face, challenges that test their character, or situations that force them to confront the pain they've caused others. But it will come. Every action carries its consequence, and no act, whether good or bad, is ever forgotten. Attitude. We also have to realize that the consequences of one's actions may not always come in the form of punishment or suffering. Sometimes the worst consequence is not external, but internal. When someone consistently lives with dishonesty, cruelty, or selfishness, their actions begin to erode their own peace of mind, their joy, and their sense of fulfillment. The consequences of negative actions can manifest in emotional and spiritual isolation, in broken relationships, or in an inner emptiness that no external success can fill. The damage done to their own character is often the most profound consequence of all. Even if they seem to escape immediate punishment, the damage to their soul, their character, and their peace is unavoidable. We might not always see the struggle they are facing in private, but karma works in ways that are beyond our understanding. The effects of their actions manifest in ways that may not always be visible to us, but are undeniable in their own lives. In fact, some of the worst punishments don't come in the form of physical suffering, but rather in the quiet destruction of the peace and happiness they once had. Karma doesn't always show up with fireworks. Sometimes it quietly shapes their reality into something they can no longer ignore. It's important to understand that karma is not a form of revenge. It is not about punishing someone for the sake of it, but rather about teaching them the lesson they need to learn. Whether the person learns that lesson or not is their choice, but the process of karma is about balance, justice, and understanding the consequences of one's actions. Karma is not about making someone suffer. It's about making them understand. It allows them the opportunity to reflect on their behavior, to realize where they went wrong and to change. If they choose not to change, then the consequences will continue to follow them, teaching them until they understand the lesson. The cycle of cause and effect is relentless in its pursuit of balance and understanding. This is why I have envied for the people who can deal with egoism. Sometimes I understand. So when you see someone who has wronged you or someone else seemingly thrive without facing any immediate consequences, don't be deceived into thinking that karma is absent. It's simply working behind the scenes. The universe is keeping track, ensuring that the law of cause and effect remains intact. Even when we don't see the effects of someone's actions immediately, we must trust that karma will find them, just as it will find all of us. The consequences of our actions are not limited to this lifetime, and neither are theirs. It's a law that transcends time, and no one is exempt from it. So while it may seem like others are escaping justice, know that karma is always at work, ensuring that no action goes without its rightful consequence. When we are wronged, it's easy to get caught up in the emotional turmoil of wanting to make sure the person who hurt us feels the same pain we did. We sometimes feel like we must carry out some form of justice ourselves, as if our own actions will right the wrongs done to us. It's only natural to want to take control of the situation, to give the person a taste of their own medicine, to make them regret what they did. But here's a powerful truth we must understand. It's not our job to make sure they feel the consequences of their actions. The burden of that is not ours to carry. Karma, or the law of cause and effect, already operates with perfect precision, and it's doing what we cannot do on our own. We often think that if we don't step in, nothing will happen, or the person who has wronged us will get away without facing the consequences. But the reality is that karma doesn't need our interference to do its work. It's a law that operates independently of our will. And when we let go of the desire to exact revenge or impose consequences on others, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of carrying that weight. When we take matters into our own hands, we can inadvertently block the very lesson that the universe is trying to teach the other person. By trying to deliver justice ourselves, we delay their growth, their understanding of their wrongs, and the opportunity for them to learn from the consequences of their own actions. Instead of becoming consumed by the desire for retribution, it's crucial to realize that justice is not about us imposing pain on others. It's about the natural law of balance and fairness unfolding without our interference. When we take the position of the one who must enforce justice, we distort the process. We forget that true justice is not a matter of retribution. It's a matter of teaching, correction, and restoration. Karma's purpose is not to punish someone, but to give them the opportunity to learn and grow, to make them reflect on their actions, and to guide them to change. By trying to force this change ourselves, we interrupt that process. We prevent them from experiencing the full weight of their actions and the lessons they need to learn. It can be a challenge to sit back and allow the process of karma to unfold in its own time, especially when we've been hurt. We want to see the wrongdoer pay for their actions, to witness their regret and suffering, because it feels like that's the only way we will find closure. But the truth is that we don't need to witness the consequences to know that they are coming. Karma doesn't require our observation. It doesn't need us to witness the exact moment when the wrongdoer is taught their lesson. Trusting in the process means having faith that justice will be served, even if we don't see it with our own eyes. The law of karma is operating on a deeper level. And it's not about satisfying our need for immediate gratification. It's about a larger, more profound form of balance that is unfolding in ways we might not even comprehend in the moment. By letting go of the need to control the outcome, we allow ourselves to heal from the pain caused by others. Holding on to the desire for revenge or payback only keeps us tethered to the hurt they caused us, preventing us from moving forward with our own lives. When we trust that the universe will take care of the wrongdoer in its own time and in its own way, we free ourselves from the weight of resentment and anger. And not our job to carry that burden, nor is it our responsibility to impose punishment on anyone. Our focus should be on our own healing, growth, and progress, while trusting that karma will handle the rest. Whew. Sometimes we may wonder why the wrongdoer appears to be thriving while we suffer. But again, karma works in ways we cannot fully understand or predict. The universe has its own timing. And while someone may seem to get away with wrongdoing for a season, the truth is that no one can escape the effects of their actions indefinitely. The wrongdoer might experience success or happiness in the short term, but the long-term consequences of their actions will eventually catch up to them. And when that happens, it may be far more painful and transformative than anything we could have orchestrated ourselves. And so Proverbs chapter 19, verse 42, if you rush into safety and control out of fear, you erode the ultimate share of God's glory. Therefore, let go of the need to deliver justice yourself. Trust in the fact that karma is working in its own way and at its own pace. The lessons will come whether we witness them or not, and we can find peace knowing that the universe is making sure that justice is served. As hard as it may be to let go of that desire for immediate retribution, we must remember that by surrendering control, we allow the natural process of cause and effect to unfold with perfect wisdom, timing, and fairness. And in doing so, we free ourselves to move forward in peace, knowing that the scales of justice will one day be balanced without our intervention. When someone wrongs us, it's natural to feel like they're the ones who need to change. We expect them to understand the hurt they have caused and to come to a realization about the pain they inflicted. But here's the truth we often overlook. Karma doesn't just affect the person who wronged us. It affects everyone involved, including us. While we may look at the wrongdoer and feel a sense of injustice, the deeper truth is that the consequences of their actions ripple out, impacting not only them, but also the people they've hurt. In the end, karma doesn't only shape the life of the person who made the mistake, it has the power to shape our own lives, teaching us profound lessons about forgiveness, healing, and letting go. So, the beauty of karma is that it is a mirror. The way others treat us reflects something about how we treat ourselves. If we allow resentment, bitterness, and hatred to fester in our hearts because of what others have done, we are allowing the wrongdoer's actions to continue affecting us. In many ways, the damage they cause is compounded by the emotional and mental energy we invest in holding on to that hurt. Every time we think about the wrong they did, every time we replay the hurt in our minds, we are choosing to give them control over our lives. Karma teaches us that we are the ones responsible for how we respond. It shows us that healing is not just about what happens to us, it's about how we allow ourselves to respond to what happens. By holding on to the anger and frustration caused by someone else's actions, we allow ourselves to be tethered to that pain, preventing us from moving forward and healing. Karma is trying to teach us the lesson of releasing control and trusting that the universe will handle the situation in its own time. The more we hold on to the negative emotions tied to the wrongdoer's actions, the more we perpetuate our own suffering. We may feel justified in our anger, but in doing so, we inadvertently deny ourselves the opportunity to heal. The more we give our energy to the wrongdoer, the less energy we have left for our own growth and progress. Karma's lesson for us is not just about waiting for someone else to experience the consequences of their actions. It's about learning to release what we cannot control and to focus on what we can. The person who wronged us may never apologize, may never acknowledge the pain they caused, or may never even realize the impact of their actions. But that is not where our power lies. Our power lies in how we respond, in how we decide to move forward and let go of the negative energy that weighs us down. We have the ability to choose forgiveness, to choose healing, and to choose peace. Karma doesn't just work on the wrongdoer. It works on us too. It teaches us that we are not victims of our circumstances, but creators of our own peace and joy. The more we choose to release the hold that anger and bitterness have on us, the more we open ourselves to the healing and growth that karma is trying to bring into our lives. Karma is a reflection of the energy we put out into the world. And when we choose to release the negativity that others have placed in our lives, we allow room for positive energy to flow back into us. It's not just about waiting for the universe to deal with the person who hurt us. It's about using the experience to transform ourselves and become better, stronger, and more compassionate. So often we think of karma as something that happens to others, but it's just as much a personal experience as it is a universal law. Karma helps us realize that we can heal ourselves by releasing the grip of resentment and anger, by shifting our focus from the wrongdoer to ourselves and our own well-being. When we stop obsessing over what others did to us, we open up the space for growth, for new opportunities, and for a deeper connection with ourselves. By accepting the lessons that karma brings us, we allow ourselves to rise above the hurt, to transcend the situation, and to heal in ways we never thought possible. In the end, the person who wronged us may never experience the consequences we believe they deserve. But the real transformation comes when we stop waiting for them to change and start allowing karma to change us. And God, when someone wrongs us, there's often a part of us that feels a deep desire for them to understand the weight of their actions and the pain they have caused. We wish that they could see what they've done and feel a deep sense of regret for it. It's only natural to want the person who hurt us to experience a moment of clarity, to acknowledge the harm they've inflicted, and to feel accountable for their behavior. We imagine that if they could just see the damage they've done, they might change their ways, seek forgiveness, or even apologize for the hurt they've caused. However, there is a profound truth we must embrace. Karma doesn't need the wrongdoer to understand their actions in the way we think they should. In fact, karma's lessons are far more powerful than any apology or acknowledgement could ever be. When we rely on an apology to heal our wounds, we are placing our emotional well-being in someone else's hands. We are waiting for another person to take responsibility for the harm they caused, to admit their mistakes, and to make things right. But here's where karma shifts the paradigm. Karma doesn't require the wrongdoer's acknowledgement for healing to begin. The consequences of their actions are not dependent on whether they realize the pain they've inflicted. Karma works on its own timeline and in its own way, regardless of the wrongdoer's awareness or willingness to take responsibility. The universe doesn't need their apology to bring about change. It operates on a higher level, one that doesn't rely on our own human desires for closure. If we are constantly waiting for the other person to realize the depth of their actions, we are holding ourselves hostage to their understanding or lack thereof. Karma teaches us that we don't need others to validate our pain in order to heal. Healing is not about the other person's response. It's about our own ability to let go of the hurt and allow the natural process of cause and effect to unfold. When we release our desire for them to acknowledge the wrong, we open ourselves to the freedom of knowing that the consequences will come whether or not we witness them. The law of karma is impartial. It does not need the wrongdoer's recognition to carry out its work. This is a powerful shift in perspective. The pain we feel from someone's actions is real and valid, and we may long for them to understand what they've done, but our healing and growth don't depend on their ability to understand or apologize. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that an apology or some form of acknowledgement will bring closure to our wounds. We tell ourselves that if they would only say, "I'm sorry," or "I didn't mean to hurt you," everything would be different. But what we're really waiting for is control over the situation. We want to dictate how it unfolds, to have some say in the process of healing. Karma teaches us that we don't need to control how someone else responds. We just need to trust that they will face the consequences of their actions in due time. Karma operates not on the understanding of the wrongdoer, but on the nature of their actions. The universe doesn't require their apology for balance to be restored. Whether the wrongdoer ever acknowledges their mistake or not, karma will ensure that they learn the lesson they need to learn. The law of cause and effect is built into the fabric of the universe, and it works in ways that we may not fully comprehend. By waiting for the wrongdoer to come to terms with their actions, we limit ourselves, we stay stuck in the past, and we prevent ourselves from moving forward. Karma, on the other hand, is a force of nature that operates on its own terms, bringing balance and justice without requiring our intervention. This shift in perspective is incredibly liberating. Instead of focusing on the wrongdoer and their failure to understand the harm they've caused, we can focus on our own healing process. We can shift our energy from trying to change them to changing ourselves, allowing ourselves to let go of the hurt, to find peace within ourselves, and to trust that justice will be served in its own time. By releasing our expectations of how the wrongdoer should behave or feel, we free ourselves from the grip of resentment and bitterness. We no longer need their understanding to move on. The universe will ensure that they face the consequences of their actions. And when that happens, they will be forced to reflect, to learn, and to grow. In the end, karma works without needing our interference. The process of cause and effect does not require our validation or confirmation. When we trust in this, we stop holding on to the need for others to understand their mistakes. Instead, we focus on understanding our own journey, trusting that karma will bring the right lessons to the wrongdoer, and allowing ourselves the peace that comes from releasing the need for someone else's acknowledgement. The process of healing doesn't require their apology. It requires our willingness to let go of the past and trust that balance will be restored in the perfect way at the perfect time. There's a certain discomfort we feel when we see others succeeding in ways that seem unfair, especially when they've hurt us or done wrong by us. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that their success somehow diminishes our worth, or that their prosperity is a reflection of how the world rewards bad behavior. We may find ourselves questioning why they seem to thrive despite their actions, while we struggle. But here's an important truth we often overlook. Karma doesn't operate on an immediate, visible timeline. It doesn't always bring consequences right away, but rest assured it's at work even when we can't see it. The success or apparent happiness of someone who has wronged us may seem like a victory for them in the moment, but karma has its own way of catching up with people, and the long-term impact of their actions will reveal itself in time. The key to understanding karma in this context is recognizing that it doesn't always deliver consequences immediately. When we see someone who has wronged us seemingly thriving, it's easy to feel discouraged, as though their success undermines the idea of justice. But in reality, karma teaches us that true justice is not immediate, it's long-term. A person may experience short-term success, but that doesn't mean they escape the natural laws of cause and effect. Often, the most significant lessons come not in the form of punishment, but in the form of personal growth and transformation that happens later on after time has passed. Karma teaches us that a person's long-term trajectory, not their immediate success, is the true reflection of their actions. It is the true reflection of their actions. We may not always see the results of their wrongdoings right away, but that doesn't mean they won't eventually face the consequences. Karma doesn't work in a linear fashion that we can always predict or track. It's a process that unfolds over time, and sometimes the consequences of someone's actions won't show up until later, even years later. This is an essential point to grasp. The idea that someone can get away with something is a misconception. Even when people seem to thrive despite their wrongdoings, karma has a way of bringing them back to a place of reckoning. Their success may be fleeting or it may be superficial, masking deeper issues that they will eventually face. Sometimes the consequences of their actions are not immediately visible, but that doesn't mean they are not calming. We may find ourselves tempted to envy or feel resentment towards someone whose life appears easy or whose success seems unjust. But in doing so, we forget that life is not just about the moments we can see. Karma also involves unseen forces at work. For the person who has hurt others, they may find that their success is hollow, their achievements are short-lived, or their peace is disturbed by the weight of their own conscience or the unraveling of their integrity. Karma isn't about a quick, visible result. It's about the inevitable return of the energy that person has put out into the world. While the immediate rewards of their actions may seem to suggest they are getting away with it, it's important to remember that no one can outrun their true destiny, and karma's lessons are inevitable. The person who has wronged you may have external success, but they will eventually face the internal consequences of their actions, whether in the form of guilt, loneliness, or a lack of peace that overshadows their success. These internal consequences are often far more powerful than any external recognition they may receive. Karma teaches us that while others may succeed in material ways, the deeper success comes from living a life aligned with integrity, truth, and respect for others. Those who build their success on harming others often find that the satisfaction they gain from their accomplishments is shallow because it's built on a foundation that isn't solid. The challenge for us is to remember that our focus should be on our own journey, on the growth and lessons that come with our own experiences. Instead of becoming envious or frustrated by the success of those who have wronged us, we can remind ourselves that true fulfillment doesn't come from external circumstances alone, but from the alignment of our actions with our values. Karma teaches us to trust the process. Even if the wrongdoer seems to thrive now, they are on their own path, and eventually the truth of their actions will catch up with them. Our responsibility is not to track their downfall or to hope that they face consequences in the way we think they should. Our responsibility is to continue walking our own path, knowing that karma will handle what is right for them, while we focus on becoming the best version of ourselves. Karma doesn't need us to intervene. It simply asks us to trust the process and to continue to grow, evolve, and learn from our own experiences. We must resist the urge to compare our journey to the path of someone who has wronged us, because karma operates on its own time, and the lessons it delivers are far deeper and more transformative than we may ever be able to see in the short term. The truth is, success built on dishonesty, harm, or manipulation cannot stand the test of time. Karma ensures that those who live with integrity and honor will always rise above, while those who seek to exploit others will eventually find themselves dealing with the long-term consequences of their actions. It's important to understand that karma is not something to fear. Too often we view karma as some kind of retribution or punishment that will strike us down when we do wrong. But the truth is, karma is a force of balance, and its purpose is not to cause suffering, but to restore harmony and teach important lessons. It is not an external force that is designed to hurt us or someone else. Rather, it is an internal guide that encourages growth, self-awareness, and transformation. The harm we cause others or the wrong we do to the world doesn't come back to punish us. It comes back to show us the consequences of our actions, allowing us to learn from our mistakes and grow into better versions of ourselves. When we wrong others or act in ways that are harmful, we may initially feel a sense of power or advantage, as if we've gotten away with something. But karma teaches us that what we put out into the world eventually returns to us, not in the form of punishment, but in a way that helps us understand the impact of our actions on others and on ourselves. It allows us to experience the consequences of our behavior in a way that forces us to look inward and reflect on our choices, helping us to become more conscious of how we affect the people around us. This process of self-awareness and introspection is not meant to break us, but to build us, to shape us into people who understand the importance of treating others with respect, kindness, and empathy. Karma does not intend to break you down. It seeks to elevate you. The lessons it brings are not there to destroy your spirit, but to awaken your soul to a higher level of understanding. When we hurt others or act with selfishness, we may initially feel that we are winning, that we are in control, or that we are ahead. But in the long run, karma steps in to restore balance, not by punishing us, but by helping us to recognize the error of our way. This recognition is a gift. It is an opportunity to realign with our higher purpose, to shed the behavior that holds us back, and to embrace a more authentic and compassionate way of living. It is through this process of self-reflection that we grow and evolve, becoming more attuned to the values of integrity, honesty, and love. One of the most important aspects of karma's lessons is the recognition that it is not always about immediate or overt consequences. The true power of karma lies in the way it shifts our internal world. It causes us to feel the weight of our actions, not in a punitive way, but in a way that makes us question how we treat others and how we show up in the world. When we inflict harm, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we may not see the immediate repercussions, but karma ensures that we eventually feel the emotional, spiritual, and psychological consequences of our actions. This isn't about punishment. It's about growth, awareness, and the opportunity to change. Karma teaches us the value of mindfulness and self-awareness. It encourages us to be aware of the energy we put out into the world, because what we send out is what we will eventually receive, not just in terms of external outcomes, but in how it shapes our own internal world. If we act with kindness, compassion, and understanding, we are more likely to receive those same qualities in return. But if we act with selfishness, dishonesty, or malice, we are inviting those same qualities into our own lives, which will ultimately lead to an experience of imbalance, unrest, or dissatisfaction. Karma does not break us. It helps us understand that our actions are part of a larger interconnected web, and that every choice we make has ripple effects that influence our life and the lives of others. In this sense, karma doesn't just operate in the realm of what others do to us. It operates in our own choices. It calls us to examine our own actions and hold ourselves accountable for the energy we create, because we are the architects of our own reality. If we have wronged someone or created negative energy, we cannot escape the law of cause and effect. But rather than fear the consequences, we should see karma as a tool for transformation. It offers us a chance to evolve, to examine our actions, and to grow into more responsible, compassionate individuals. Karma helps us see that the lessons we learn from our mistakes and wrongs are not punishments. They are opportunities for us to realign with our true values. Rather than fearing karma's lessons, we should embrace them as the guides they are. They are invitations for us to grow, to change, and to become the people we were always meant to be. Karma is not some external force that seeks to destroy us. It is a loving force that helps us learn, evolve, and become more in tune with the interconnectedness of all things. Karma, when we accept that karma is not meant to punish us, but to help us grow and heal, we can stop fearing its lessons and start embracing the opportunity to become better people. The very things that seem like consequences or setbacks can often turn out to be blessings in disguise, revealing the path to greater self-awareness, understanding, and peace. The pain they inflicted is circling back. It's a powerful statement, and it carries a message that we must all hear. You see, life is a cycle, a circle, and everything we do, every action, every word, every choice we make has a ripple effect. When people hurt you, when they betray you, when they tear you down, it feels like an injustice. But what if I told you that the pain they inflicted is not just something you must endure, it is something that will circle back to them in ways they can't even imagine? You see, when someone hurts you, when they act with malice, they are sowing seeds into the very ground that they walk upon. They believe that they are escaping the consequences of their actions, but the truth is, the universe doesn't forget. The same energy, the same intentions, the same actions they send out into the world have a way of finding their way back to them. It's the law of cause and effect, the law of reaping what you sow. You don't have to seek revenge. You don't have to fight back. Let the pain they inflicted on you be the seed that brings them their harvest. It will come back to them, not because you wished it, but because that's how the world works. No one escapes the consequences of their choices. They may have thought they got away with it, but they haven't. And you are not a victim. You are not someone who is destined to remain in the shadow of what others have done to you. You are the master of your life. And the only thing that can destroy you is the belief that you are powerless in the face of adversity. When they hurt you, they gave you the opportunity to grow, to rise, to transform. While they were tearing you down, they were building you up. You are becoming stronger, more resilient, more capable of standing tall in the face of any challenge. So let the pain they inflicted circle back. Let it remind them of the seeds they planted. But remember this, your journey is not defined by the pain of others. Your life is not a reflection of what they've done to you, but of how you rise above it. The pain they inflicted will circle back to them, but the strength, the wisdom, the victory that comes from overcoming it will stay with you forever. And it will make you unstoppable. There's a power within you that nothing and no one can take away. Keep moving forward. Keep rising higher. Because in the end, it's not about them, it's about you. And what's meant for you, no one can take away. Keep living, keep thriving, and know that the pain they inflicted is simply the fuel that will propel you to your greatness. Life is a cycle, a continuous loop where every action, every word, every thought, and every intention we put out into the world has a ripple effect. The energy we send out comes back to us, sometimes in ways we don't immediately see or understand. We live in a world governed by the laws of cause and effect. If you plant a seed in the ground, it grows. If you sow kindness, it will return. But if you sow hatred, betrayal, or cruelty, that too will eventually circle back. It's not about getting revenge or watching the consequences unfold with a sense of satisfaction. No, it's about understanding that the universe is not a place where actions are ever truly lost or forgotten. What they have done to you, the hurt, the injustice, the pain, might seem like it's out of your control, but it's all part of a bigger picture. We often focus on the immediate hurt, the immediate consequences we face when someone betrays us or does us wrong. We wonder if they'll ever pay for what they've done. But here's the truth: in a world governed by cycles, nothing is ever wasted. The energy people send out, whether positive or negative, inevitably returns to them. They may think they've escaped the consequences of their actions, that they've gotten away with hurting you. But what they don't see is that life has a way of drawing that energy back into their own world in ways they least expect. The same way that a stone thrown into a lake creates ripples across the water, so too does the energy of every action we take ripple out, eventually coming back to its source. It is not something we should hope for or wait for, but it is the reality of the life we live. When you understand that everything is interconnected, that every act of betrayal, every word of hurt, every action of malice sets something in motion, it gives you a peace. You realize you don't have to fight back. You don't have to hold on to the anger or resentment. The cycle will complete itself. The pain that others inflict on you is not something you must carry forever. You let go and trust that the very forces that govern life will ensure that everything eventually finds its rightful place. You do not need to seek justice. The cycle will bring what is needed, and in its time, it will come back to them. The beauty of life is that it is designed to balance itself, to correct the wrongs and right the injustices, even if it takes time. So don't worry about the hurt they caused. Just keep living, keep moving forward, because the cycle will eventually circle back to them, and it will be far greater than anything you could ever do. When people hurt you, it feels like an injustice. It can feel like the world has been turned upside down, and you're left with a heavy burden of pain and confusion. You wonder why this is happening to you, why the people you trusted, the people who should have lifted you up, instead tore you down. But here's the truth: that pain, that injustice is not something you have to carry forever. It is a temporary experience. What we must understand is that everything we go through, everything we face is not random or without purpose. The pain inflicted upon you, the betrayal you have felt, is not a punishment. It is part of the process. It's an opportunity to grow, to rise, to transform into something stronger. The people who hurt you, they may believe they have gotten away with their actions. They may think they can inflict pain and walk away without consequence, but they are mistaken. The energy they have sent into the world is not something that vanishes. It cannot be erased. It must return. The same way a rock thrown into a river creates ripples that spread out across the surface, so too does the hurt, the injustice, the negative energy people put into the world. It travels, it moves, and eventually it finds its way back. You might not see it right away, and you may wonder if justice will ever come. But rest assured, life has a way of balancing itself. The same way that a tree grows from the seed that was planted, the consequences of their actions will eventually grow and find them. The pain they inflicted will circle back to them in a way that they can't control, in a way that they may not even recognize. They may go through life thinking they have gotten away with hurting you, with betraying you, but their actions are planted seeds that will bear fruit in their own lives. This isn't about wishing bad upon anyone. It's not about hoping they get what they deserve. It's about understanding that the laws of nature and life are far greater than our ability to control or manipulate them. The universe has a way of ensuring that what people do to others doesn't just disappear. Every action, every word, every choice has a consequence, and no one escapes that. The energy they put into the world, whether it's good or bad, will come back to them in ways they can't avoid. The person who hurt you may never know when or how it happens, but they will face the consequences of their actions. And that brings you peace. You don't need to be consumed by anger or bitterness. You don't need to constantly wonder when or how they will face the repercussions of what they've done. All you need to do is trust the process. Trust that life has a way of bringing balance. Trust that the pain they caused you will find its way back to them. You don't need to exact revenge or chase after justice. You simply need to focus on your own journey, your own healing, and know that what is meant for you, what you deserve, will never be taken away. Their hurtful actions will come back to them, not because you wished it, but because it's simply the law of life, the law of cause and effect. It's how the world is designed. So let go of the burden, let go of the worry, and trust that in time their pain will circle back. The law of cause and effect is one of the most powerful and undeniable truths in life. It dictates that everything we do, every action we take, every decision we make has consequences. It doesn't matter whether those actions are big or small, seen or unseen, they all have an impact, and that impact will eventually return to us. This is not just some abstract principle, it's a fundamental truth that governs the universe. The energy we send out, whether positive or negative, will come back to us, and sometimes it will return in ways we never expected. You see, when people hurt you, when they betray your trust, when they lash out with cruelty, they are sowing seeds. They might think that their actions will never come back to haunt them. They might believe that they can inflict pain and move on untouched. But that is not how the law of cause and effect works. Every word they speak, every action they take, every intention they hold in their heart sends out a ripple into the world. And while they may feel like they have escaped the consequences, while they may walk away thinking they've gotten away with it, the universe doesn't forget. The law of cause and effect ensures that no action goes unnoticed and no negative deed goes unaccounted for. Whether they know it or not, they are planting seeds in the very soil they walk upon. And just like a farmer cannot escape the harvest of what he has planted, those who hurt others cannot escape the harvest of their own actions. They may not see it now, they may not feel it in the moment, but the consequences are inevitable. Think about it. When you plant an apple seed, you don't get oranges, you get apples. When people sow hurt, betrayal, or cruelty, that's exactly what they will eventually reap. They may think they've avoided the consequences of their actions, but they haven't. The law of cause and effect is relentless. It operates with perfect timing. And though it may seem like there's a delay, rest assured, it's only a matter of time before the harvest begins. The very energy they put into the world, the malice they tried to bury, will eventually find its way back to them. It might come in a different form, in a way they never expected, but it will come. This is where your peace comes from. You don't have to chase after justice or seek to make them feel the pain they caused you. You don't have to take matters into your own hands. The law of cause and effect will ensure that justice is served not in your time, but in the right time. Every hurtful word, every selfish action, every act of malice is being recorded. You don't need to worry about when or how they will face the consequences because life itself is orchestrating it all. They may never see it coming. They may never even understand that the troubles they are facing are a result of the seeds they've sown. But life will make sure they feel the weight of their actions, even if they never acknowledge it. When you understand this law, it brings peace and freedom. You are no longer bound by the need for revenge or retribution. You no longer need to carry the weight of anger or resentment because you know that everything that is meant for you will come to you in time, and everything that others have sown will come back to them in their time. And in the end, the law of cause and effect will work out perfectly, bringing balance to everything, even if you never see it with your own eyes. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to fight back. The world often tells us that we must get even, that we must make people pay for the wrongs they have done to us. It's a natural instinct to want to defend ourselves, to prove that we are not weak, to stand up for our dignity. But when we allow ourselves to be driven by the desire for revenge, we give the wrongdoer more power over us than they ever deserve. They've already inflicted pain, and now we risk carrying that pain further, letting it define us, letting it control our actions. The truth is, revenge doesn't heal you, it holds you captive. Seeking vengeance may feel like the only way to restore balance or to make the situation right, but in reality, it only perpetuates the cycle of negativity. When we try to strike back, we become just like the person who hurt us, acting out of anger and pain rather than peace and wisdom. It may seem like a way to regain control, but what it really does is drag us down into a deeper, more destructive space where the hurt we've suffered only grows larger and more consuming. You don't need to go down that road. You must trust that life has its own ways of bringing justice. The universe is a system designed with balance, and this balance is not dependent on your actions or my actions. It is an inevitable force. The person who has hurt you, betrayed you, or tried to bring you down will eventually face the consequences of their actions. You don't have to lift a finger to make that happen. It may seem like they are getting away with it, like they will never feel the sting of the pain they've inflicted. But the truth is, their time will come. The energy they have sent out, whether intentional or not, will come back to them. It might not look the way you expect. It might not be the instant karma you were hoping for. But it will come in its own time, in a form they will have to face. The beauty in this is that by letting go of the need for revenge, you free yourself. You stop carrying the weight of their wrongs. You stop feeding the anger, the bitterness, and the desire for retribution. You release the negative energy they have imposed on you and allow the universe to handle the situation in its perfect timing. You stop giving them space in your mind and your heart. The moment you stop focusing on getting even, you take back your power. You regain control of your life. You decide that your peace, your joy, your future will not be defined by the actions of someone else. No matter how hard they try to hurt you, no matter how much they wish to diminish your spirit, you are the one who decides what happens next. When you let go of the desire to make them pay, you open the door to healing. You create space for the good to come into your life. When you stop fighting, you start living. Let the cycle unfold naturally. There is no need for you to become entangled in their negative energy. The law of cause and effect will take care of the rest, and you will rise above it stronger and more peaceful than ever before. Your power comes from within, not from trying to force outcomes, but from understanding that life's balance works in ways you cannot always see. You don't need to act. You just need to trust that what is meant for you will come, and what they have sown will return to them in due time. When someone hurts you, it can feel like your world has been rocked to its core. It might feel like everything you believed about people, about trust, about loyalty, has been shattered in an instant. The wounds they have inflicted can seem so deep, so unjust, that it becomes hard to see beyond the pain. You question your own judgment, your own worth, and sometimes even the very nature of the people around you. You ask yourself why this happened, why you were the one targeted, why you were the one who had to endure such suffering. And yet, in the midst of this storm, there's a powerful truth that you need to grasp. The pain they inflicted is a catalyst for something greater. Understand this: the pain you feel now, the hurt that seems unbearable, is not a permanent state. It is a passage, a necessary step in your journey towards something bigger and better. People who hurt you believe they have the power to break you, but they don't realize that they are simply setting the stage for your transformation. Their actions are the spark that ignites a fire within you, one that will burn away the parts of you that are weak, the parts of you that are too dependent on others for validation, the parts of you that are too fragile to withstand the storms of life. You are being refined, shaped, and prepared for the greatness that is ahead of you. Think about it for a moment. Diamonds are formed under immense pressure. The most beautiful, most valuable things in life don't come from ease, they come from adversity. The pain you are enduring right now is the pressure that is shaping you into something far more resilient, far more powerful, far more capable than you were before. The person who hurt you may have thought they were pushing you to your breaking point, but what they didn't realize is that they were simply creating the conditions for your breakthrough. There are lessons in this pain that will teach you more about yourself than you could ever have imagined. You will discover reserves of strength you didn't know existed. You will uncover a resilience that will enable you to face the next challenge and the next with courage and grace. The betrayal, the hurt, the wounds, they all serve as lessons in resilience, in wisdom, in how to protect your heart and how to trust your instincts. Each scar becomes a reminder that you survive, that you thrive, and that nothing and no one can ever truly break you unless you allow it. What you must realize is that this pain is not only refining your character, but also preparing you for the next chapter in your life. The pain you are feeling now will eventually serve as the foundation for the person you are becoming. You will find that as you heal, as you grow, as you rise above the wounds of your past, you are becoming a beacon of strength, a living testimony to the fact that pain does not define you. What defines you is how you respond to that pain, how you use it to propel yourself forward, how you allow it to fuel your growth and to prepare you for the life you are meant to live. The people who hurt you, they may never understand the depth of the impact they had on your life, but that's not important. What's important is that you rise from the ashes of their betrayal stronger than you were before, more focused on your purpose than ever. The pain they caused will not be your story. It will be the story of how you overcame them, how you turned the very thing they used to try to destroy you into the thing that ultimately propelled you toward your destiny. That's the beauty of it. That's the power you hold. The wounds they inflicted on you are the seeds of the greatness that is yet to come. So take heart, hold fast to your faith, and know that this pain is not the end. It is just the beginning of something extraordinary. When we speak of growth and transformation, it's crucial to understand that the path to greatness is rarely a smooth one. It is marked by challenges, struggles, and obstacles that seem insurmountable at times. But these very challenges, these moments of intense difficulty, are the building blocks of your strength, your wisdom, and your ability to rise above anything that comes your way. The people who hurt you, who try to break you down, believe they have the power to diminish you. But in reality, they are only setting the stage for you to become more. They are unwittingly helping you evolve into the person you were always meant to be. You see, the struggles we face are not random. They are purposeful. Every pain, every betrayal, every moment of hardship is a tool for your growth. People who attempt to hurt you are, in a way, contributing to your personal development, even though they may not realize it. They may think that they are pushing you into despair, that they are weakening your spirit. But what they don't understand is that they are providing you with the necessary experience to develop your resilience, sharpen your focus, and deepen your character. Each obstacle they place in your path is an opportunity for you to prove to yourself who you truly are, to show yourself just how capable you are of overcoming even the hardest trials. As you face these difficulties, you will realize that the strength you are developing isn't just about surviving the pain. It's about using that pain as a catalyst for something greater. You are becoming more than you were before. You are evolving, you are learning new ways of thinking, new ways of approaching life, and new ways of handling the adversities that inevitably arise. You are becoming more aware of your own worth, more in tune with your inner power, and more focused on your purpose. The more you grow, the less you will tolerate anything that tries to diminish you, and the more you will attract the right people and circumstances that will elevate you. The pain they inflicted upon you is shaping you into someone who can withstand the storms of life. It's preparing you for bigger challenges ahead, not so that you can be defeated, but so that you can conquer them with the wisdom and strength you are accumulating right now. The more you face, the more you learn, the stronger you become. And with each battle you overcome, you will begin to realize that you are becoming untouchable. You are being forged in the fires of adversity, and nothing will be able to break you. Your growth is inevitable. The pain they caused may have left its mark on your heart, but it will also have created space for new growth, new understanding, and new opportunities. As you heal, you are shedding the weight of what others have done to you, and you are stepping into a new version of yourself, one that is more grounded, more centered, and more prepared for the success and fulfillment that awaits you. It is through this process of growth, of evolving beyond the hurt, that you will find your true power. And when you look back at the pain they caused, you will no longer see it as a setback, but as the moment that pushed you to be your best, to be stronger, and to embrace the greatness within you. The people who sought to harm you have unknowingly made you a warrior, unstoppable, unbreakable, and more focused than ever on your destiny. The pain they have inflicted upon you doesn't just affect you in the present moment, it also carries with it the potential for personal empowerment in ways you may not yet fully understand. At the surface, it seems like the hurt is a burden, something you must carry and bear as a consequence of their actions. But in truth, this pain, this hurt, is an invitation to change, to shift, and to embrace the opportunity to grow into something stronger than you were before. What may appear to be your darkest moment can also be the moment where you unlock your greatest potential. The truth is, people can only hurt you if you allow them to, and you have the power to decide how you respond to what they've done. You see, every action they take against you, whether it's betrayal, slander, or an attempt to undermine you, can be reframed into a lesson. Each pain is a teacher showing you something about yourself you may not have known. Maybe it shows you your own vulnerability. Maybe it reveals to you the places where you've been too trusting or too naive. But most importantly, it shows you how powerful you truly are. The more pain you endure and choose to rise above, the more you understand your capacity for resilience. You begin to realize that nothing can defeat you unless you allow it. This revelation is not just empowering, it's life-changing. When you rise above the pain they have caused, you begin to reclaim your power. You take back control of the narrative of your emotions and of your future. You stop being defined by their actions, and instead you define yourself by how you choose to move forward. You start to realize that you don't need their approval, you don't need their validation, and you certainly don't need their apology. The only thing you need is your own faith in your ability to heal and to move on. You begin to trust yourself more. You recognize that your peace, your joy, and your well-being are not in the hands of anyone else. They are in your hands alone. You are in charge of your own destiny, and no one, no matter how much they may try to hurt you, can take that from you unless you let them. As you heal, you also gain a new perspective on the world around you. You start to see things differently. People who once seemed like they held power over you no longer have the same effect. The situations that used to trigger you no longer do. And most importantly, you realize that life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. The things that have caused you pain are not punishments, they are the catalysts that have propelled you into a new level of self-awareness, self-worth, and self-empowerment. You understand now that every challenge, every wound, and every hardship has brought you closer to the best version of yourself. And as you continue to grow and heal, you begin to see that they were never truly your enemy. They were simply the messengers, showing you how strong you are and how much you are capable of overcoming. You don't have to chase after revenge or try to fix what has been broken. The true power lies in letting go. The power lies in your ability to transcend the pain, to rise above it, and to come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more at peace with yourself. The more you rise above the wounds they've inflicted, the more you realize that they've inadvertently helped you become the person you are meant to be. They may have tried to break you, but in reality, they've only been the ones who pushed you toward your breakthrough, toward your highest calling. And that is the ultimate triumph. You've transformed the pain into power. And that is something no one can ever take away from you. There's something profoundly empowering when you understand that every act of betrayal, every moment of hurt, and every painful experience you've endured was never meant to be the end of your story, but rather a step toward a higher level of your destiny. The world, the people around you, and the circumstances you face often have a way of trying to reduce you, trying to push you into a corner where you feel isolated, weak, and vulnerable. But the truth is, they can only push you as far as you allow them. They do not have the power to control your destiny unless you relinquish that control. The pain they have inflicted upon you is an opportunity for you to step into a version of yourself that is powerful, unwavering, and deeply connected to your purpose. It's through your healing, through your response to their attacks, that you truly discover who you are and who you are meant to become. The pain that was once so heavy, so overwhelming, begins to shift as you transform the energy of hurt into the fuel for your growth. It's like taking what was designed to break you and using it to propel yourself forward. The people who have wronged you may think they've set your life off course, but they couldn't be further from the truth. All they've done is set the stage for your greatness. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of confusion becomes the raw material for your metamorphosis. And when you come out of the other side of this pain, you will no longer recognize the person you were before. You will be stronger, more focused, and infinitely more prepared for what's next in your journey. What you have to understand is that growth often requires disruption. The discomfort, the betrayal, and the hurt you have faced are the disruptions needed to bring about the transformation that would not have been possible otherwise. Without this disruption, you might have remained stagnant, comfortable in your existing state. But now, having been pushed, having been challenged, you are ready to break free from anything that would hold you back. You are ready to rise above the limitations that you once accepted as part of your reality. The pain they caused has forced you to reevaluate your life, your relationships, and your purpose. It has shown you what you truly value and has helped you let go of what no longer serves you. And in that space of letting go, you begin to create room for the things that will truly uplift you. Your growth is not just about surviving the pain, it's about using the lessons learned to take charge of your life. You begin to see things clearly. You understand now that your value, your worth, and your peace are not determined by the actions of others, but by the way you choose to respond to them. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your future. As you look ahead, you realize that the pain has sharpened your vision. You have become more discerning, more focused, more aware of the choices you make and the people you allow into your life. The hurt you've endured has taught you boundaries, self-respect, and the importance of investing your energy into what truly matters. It's like you have been through a fire and now you stand stronger, more refined, with a sense of purpose that you never had before. The pain they inflicted upon you was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to strengthen you, to wake you up to the power you've always had inside of you. Through this process, you will find that you are no longer afraid to stand alone, to go after your dreams, and to pursue your purpose with an unshakable conviction. And when you look back at everything that once hurt you, you will no longer see a victim story. You will see a testimony of strength, resilience, and a powerful soul that refused to let anything or anyone take away the greatness within. When you experience pain, betrayal, and injustice, it may feel like the world is conspiring against you, as if you've been singled out for suffering. But in reality, the pain inflicted upon you is part of a much bigger picture, one that reveals a deeper truth about life and your place in it. You may not see it now, but everything that has happened is part of a grand design, one that was meant to take you beyond where you currently stand. The very things that others did to you, the things that once seemed impossible to endure, are actually setting you up for a greater purpose. They are preparing you to take the leap into the next phase of your life, where you will operate at a level higher than you ever imagined possible. The pain they cause you is only temporary, but the lessons that you learn from that pain are eternal. It is through the process of healing that you discover the depth of your strength, the breadth of your resilience, and the power of your spirit. The very situations that were meant to break you become the foundation upon which you rebuild yourself stronger, wiser, and more focused than before. What people don't understand is that by attempting to destroy you, they are unknowingly positioning you for the most extraordinary breakthrough of your life. You may have once believed that their actions could ruin you, but now you see that it was only ever meant to refine you. Every time you rise after falling, every time you pick yourself up after being knocked down, you are reshaping your destiny. The trials you faced have given you a unique perspective on life, and they've empowered you to move forward with an unshakable confidence in your ability to overcome any future obstacle. As you embrace this journey of transformation, you begin to see that the suffering was not meant to be a punishment, but a lesson in strength, endurance, and faith. It's in the moments of great pain that you are forced to examine who you truly are, to challenge your beliefs, to uncover your hidden reserves of faith and courage. What they've done to you is just a temporary setback, but the person you are becoming is your permanent breakthrough. The power of healing and growth lies in your ability to let go of the past. When you release the hold that the pain and hurt have on you, you open yourself to new possibilities, new beginnings, and new levels of greatness. You begin to see that your journey was never about what they did to you, but about what you were meant to become as a result of it. Your response to their actions, how you choose to rise, how you choose to move forward, is what will define you in the end. It is in this process of overcoming, of rising above, that you discover the true meaning of your life's purpose. What they thought would break you will instead become the catalyst for your greatest transformation. The pain they inflicted is circling back, not to punish you, but to propel you into the next level of your life. The higher the challenge, the greater the growth. And through this process, you are becoming more than you ever thought possible. You are becoming someone who not only survives, but thrives. Someone who takes what was meant to harm them and uses it to fuel their ascent to the highest heights. They thought they were bringing you down, but what they didn't realize is that they were only helping you rise higher than ever before. The truth is, the pain they caused you is not the final chapter in your story. It is merely a prelude to your breakthrough. What they intended to break, God is using to build. Every moment of betrayal, every act of harm, every word spoken to tear you down is being woven into the very fabric of your success. You are not defined by their actions, but by how you rise in the face of adversity. What they didn't realize is that their attempts to harm you were setting the stage for your divine elevation. They thought they were attacking you, but what they failed to see was that they were actually helping you unlock your greatest potential. As you navigate through the pain, you begin to see that the enemy's plan for your destruction was actually the groundwork for your transformation. The weight of the hurt that you've carried becomes the strength you need to overcome obstacles in the future. You see, there are lessons hidden in the pain. They are there, waiting for you to discover them. Each trial you have faced has built a foundation that you can stand on with confidence, no longer relying on the opinions of others or the circumstances that once seemed so overwhelming. You are building yourself up to be a person who cannot be shaken, who cannot be easily discouraged. Every time you experience hardship and refuse to be defeated, you are creating a new layer of resilience that no one can take away from you. The more they tried to hurt you, the more you learned about yourself. The more they tried to tear you down, the stronger you became. What they didn't anticipate is that their attacks would lead you to a place of discovery of your own inner strength, your purpose, and your power. You are now someone who has faced the worst of what they could throw at you and walked away not only unscathed but empowered. You understand now that no weapon formed against you can prosper unless you allow it to. The pain they caused has only sharpened your focus and increased your determination. In the process of rising from the ashes, you become more than just a survivor. You become a conqueror, a living testament to the power of perseverance. You now see clearly that the people who intended to harm you were only a part of the greater plan God has for your life. Through their attempts to knock you down, God has positioned you for greater things. You are being elevated because you have chosen to rise. The trials, the pain, the betrayals, all of them were a part of the training ground that has equipped you to handle the next level of greatness that is waiting for you. And now, as the pain they inflicted on you starts to circle back, you realize that this is not about revenge or karma, it's about destiny. The people who hurt you thought they were diminishing your value, but what they did understand is that their actions have magnified your strength, your faith, your resilience, your wisdom. All of these have been sharpened by the experiences you've had. You now walk in a new understanding of your own worth and the power that lies within you. You understand that you are unstoppable and no one can take away the greatness that's been birthed within you through your trials. The very things that were meant to destroy you have now made you a force to be reckoned with. So as they see the pain they caused you circling back to them, you must recognize this moment for what it is: not a time for revenge, but a time for reflection, for healing, and for gratitude. Because in the end, you have been given a gift. The pain has set you on the path to becoming the person you were always meant to be. And as you rise higher and higher, you can be assured that no weapon formed against you will prosper, because you are walking in the fullness of your purpose, and nothing can stop what God has ordained for your life. In conclusion, understand this: the pain they inflicted upon you was never meant to define you, but to refine you. Every trial, every betrayal, and every hardship has shaped you into the person you are today, stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. The very forces that tried to break you are now the stepping stones leading you to greatness. You are not a product of your pain, but the masterpiece that emerges from it. As you continue on your journey, know that your strength lies not in avoiding pain, but in rising above it with purpose, faith, and determination. What they tried to do to you will only serve to propel you forward, and the victory you are destined for will be all the sweeter because of the battles you have faced. Keep moving forward with confidence, knowing that no matter what others may do, you are walking in the fullness of your destiny. The pain has circled back, and in doing so, it has made you unstoppable. You are a living testimony to the power of perseverance, and nothing can stand in the way of your divine elevation. Your story is just beginning, and the best is yet to come.